The night before Halloween was supposed to feel alive. Kids in costumes, carved pumpkins glowing with warm light, laughter echoing down the streets. But this neighborhood didn't laugh anymore. No decorations. No open doors. No one outside after sunset. Because everyone knew the truth. On Halloween night, something came back. And it always picked the houses with their lights still on. And tonight, one house was glowing. Yours. The small American town of Crestwood always treated Halloween as a sacred ritual. Not because they loved costumes or candy, but because they feared what happened if they didn't celebrate. Every fall, the town decorated early, carved pumpkins obsessively, lit candles on every porch, and made sure no house stood dark. Because darkness invited something. Every generation had a name for it, the Watcher, the Hollow One, the Faceless Guest. Kids whispered the stories in school hallways. Elders avoided the topic entirely. But they all agreed on one thing. If you didn't acknowledge Halloween, it would acknowledge you. This year, Liam had no idea what he was walking into. He had moved into Crestwood just a week before Halloween, motivated by a cheap rental deal and the promise of a quieter life. He hated big cities, hated noise, and hated holidays, especially Halloween. He saw it as a childish tradition he had outgrown years ago. So when the landlord said, "Just make sure you decorate. It's important around here," Liam brushed it off as small-town superstition. Halloween night arrived with a suffocating stillness. No wind, no rustling leaves, no distant laughter. Just quiet, the kind that didn't feel natural. Liam sat in his dimly lit living room, scrolling through his phone, ignoring the strange tension in the air. Outside, the entire neighborhood glowed orange from the hundreds of carved pumpkins. Each house looked like it was trying to hold back the dark. Except his. He hadn't put out a single pumpkin. At 9:13 p.m., the lights in his living room flickered. He barely looked up. At 9:17 p.m., he heard a soft thud on the porch. He assumed it was a cat. At 9:21 p.m., someone knocked. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. Liam froze. No kids were trick-or-treating, not a single one. He had seen empty streets all evening. The knocks came again, heavier, as if the hand behind them wasn't flesh. He stood, hesitated, and approached the door. His heart hammered louder with each step. When he finally looked through the peephole, there was nothing, just his empty porch, lit by the faint glow of a flickering streetlight. He exhaled, laughed nervously, and turned away. The knock came again, this time from the back door. He spun around, breath hitching in his throat. The knocks weren't playful or impatient. They were rhythmic, almost like they were following a pattern. He walked toward the kitchen slowly, gripping the counter for stability. As he reached the back door, the knocking stopped abruptly. Silence stretched across the room. Then he saw it, a shadow on the other side of the frosted glass. Tall, still, completely motionless. No features, no outline of a face. Just a human-shaped darkness pressed against the door. Liam stepped back, pulse racing. He didn't speak. He didn't move. He didn't breathe. The shadow leaned forward, as if pressing its forehead to the glass. But what made Liam's blood freeze wasn't the shadow itself. It was the faint sound he heard behind it. Breathing, but not human breathing. Slow, hollow, painful, like air dragging through something that shouldn't be alive. The shadow suddenly shifted. Not stepping, not sliding, shifting, as if its form flickered for a moment, like a candle flame in the wind. Liam stumbled backward, grabbed his phone, and dialed 911. No ringing. No operator. Just static. Then a voice. Not human. Not deep. Not whispering. Just a hollow, empty sound that stretched the words into something unnatural. Light your pumpkin. The call cut off. Liam nearly dropped the phone. He rushed to the front window, staring outside. Every porch on the block glowed with carved pumpkins burning bright. Every porch, except his. And then the truth slammed into him. The landlord didn't warn him out of tradition. The neighbors didn't decorate out of joy. The pumpkins weren't for show. They were protection. A ritual. A barrier. And Liam had broken it. Another knock boomed through the house. Not from the door this time, but from inside the walls. Something was already in. The lights flickered violently. The house groaned like it was breathing. Liam grabbed the nearest lamp and held it like a weapon, backing toward the living room. Shadows crawled across the ceiling, long and distorted, bending unnaturally as if responding to an unseen pull. The darkness moved, not like a person, not like an animal, like something without bones or shape. Liam's throat tightened, his vision blurred with fear, and then he heard the sound that would haunt him for the rest of his life. A faint, dragging whisper from directly behind him. "Turn around." He didn't. He ran. He sprinted out the front door barefoot, nearly falling as he hit the cold pavement. His breath tore through his lungs as he bolted across the street toward the nearest porch with a lit pumpkin. But as he reached the neighbor's steps, the carved pumpkin flickered. The flame wavered, dimmed, then died. Every pumpkin on the street instantly went out, one by one, like candles snuffed by invisible fingers. Darkness swallowed everything, and Liam realized something horrifying. It wasn't the pumpkins that kept the creature away. It was the creature that allowed the pumpkins to stay lit, until it chose otherwise. And tonight it had made its choice. The street lights died the same second the pumpkins went out. One instant Crestwood was bathed in a soft orange glow. The next, the neighborhood dropped into a suffocating pit of blackness. Not ordinary darkness. This felt thick, like the air had turned into something heavier than oxygen. Something meant to settle inside lungs and stop breath. Liam froze on the neighbor's porch, his chest heaving. Every instinct screamed at him to move, but terror pinned him in place. He strained his eyes, but the world had turned into ink. His heartbeat hammered so loudly he wondered if whatever was out here could hear it. Then he heard it, footsteps. Slow, heavy, dragging. Not from ahead, not from behind, from everywhere at once. The sound seeped into the street like it wasn't coming from a single direction, but from the dark itself. The pavement trembled under each step, like something massive dragged its weight across the asphalt. Liam backed away until his shoulder hit the neighbor's door. He grabbed the handle and twisted desperately, but it didn't budge. Locked. He pounded both fists against it, voice breaking. "Open! Please, open the door." No answer. No movement. But he wasn't surprised. The neighbors knew the rules. They never opened doors after the pumpkins went out. Liam pressed his back to the door, gasping. The footsteps grew louder, impossibly slow, but impossibly heavy. Like something ancient had been roused from sleep. A faint scrape echoed across the street. Metal? Bone? He couldn't tell. Then a soft whisper glided through the darkness, brushing his ear like cold air. Liam. He felt his stomach twist. He knew his name. He bolted down the steps and sprinted blindly across the street. He couldn't see, but he could feel the darkness closing around him. Thick, pressing, intelligent. His bare feet slapped against the cold ground as he stumbled toward his house. Not because it was safe, but because it was the only place he knew the layout of. But halfway across the road, everything changed. A faint orange glow flickered at the edge of his vision. At first, he thought one of the pumpkins had reignited on its own. Then two more glowed, and three. But the shapes sharpening into light weren't pumpkins. They were eyes. Dozens of them. Circle-shaped, dim, burning a soft, unnatural orange. The exact hue of candlelit Halloween jack-o'-lanterns. They hovered a few inches above the ground, staring, motionless. Not human eyes, not animal eyes, hollow eyes. Liam stopped mid-step, breath caught in his throat. His legs trembled violently. The glowing eyes blinked, slow and out of sync, as if the creatures behind them didn't understand how blinking worked. Then they started moving, not walking, not crawling, sliding across the pavement without sound. As they drifted closer, their shapes came into focus, long, thin silhouettes, bodies stretched too tall, too narrow, Almos.